Hello fellow global citizens. This is Klaus from Plant-Based News. I am not a bigot. I am a good global citizen who believes all the things that the good grown-ups on the TV tell me to believe.
And when we're talking about Epstein, you gotta stick to what is common sense on these things, all right? Don't get buried in legalese, don't follow the finger pointing, and please don't get caught up in the intrigue of who was better friends with this guy. Who cares?
2020 has been a fantastic year for the vegan movement so far, and with our revolutionary global corporate sponsors and endorsement by the totally credible World Health Organization, it's sure to get even better.
Going against Beyond Meat is going against history.
Hey everyone, this is Klaus here, and I just wanted to re-upload this video from CNBC because Jim Cramer came out and said some very interesting things about Beyond Meat.
This movement's happening, and you gotta get on the bus or get left.
How can I make an impact?
You put your differences aside and you act. You go out in the unknown and take decisions that may not make much sense at the moment, but for the long run may be necessary for all our common well-being. And as in any crisis, it's always important, essential that we listen to the science and to the experts. But during crises like this, it is even more important that we listen to scientists, science, and to the experts.
Our activism faced a minor setback early this year when the good grown-up experts of the settled science at the governments saved us from what the experts of the science that is settled predicted with their totally credible and real science models would surely cause everything bad to happen always. Global house arrest, lockdown, mandatory unemployment, temporary permanent totalitarian technocracy, and healthy happy responsible mandatory muzzles are helping save all us extra, non-essential people. Us non-essential extra people who the smart grown-up science experts say need to stop reproducing and exhaling toxic gases need to listen to the good grown-up philanthropist expert friends of philanthropist Jeffrey Epstein so we cannot get sick and surely die.
The British government has now put restrictions in place to slow the spread of this virus. People in the UK are only allowed to leave their homes for specific reasons. This includes shopping for necessities, medical care, and travelling to and from work if it's absolutely necessary. Shops selling non-essential goods have been closed, as well as gyms, libraries, places of worship, and gatherings of more than 2 people have been banned.
Social isolation and total surveillance is obviously so necessary to save us from this totally real crisis. Unfortunately, the mandatory closing of non-essential people's businesses and gathering places has put a pause on the amazing activism of vegan street activists like my hero, the mentally and physically healthy, jittery and effeminate vegan activist Joey Carbstrong.
Okay. So they've got it veggie and vegan separated, which is good.
Lockdowns have also made it difficult for many of us online vegan activists who spend our time changing the world and saving the animals anonymously in YouTube comments who have to now spend time around disgusting, murdering, unethical, bigot, non-vegan, non-essential people like our families.
But also for some of us, maybe we're self-isolating with loved ones, but that's a negative thing because having that forced interaction with family where we can't get away from them can obviously be very difficult for many of us as well, particularly when we put that vegan spin on it as well when our loved ones are maybe not vegan, and that can be very tricky. But if we're alone as well and we're in self-isolation, we don't have anyone to talk to apart from maybe online or virtually, it's very tricky. I feel genuinely very sorry and troubled if any of you are at home now with non-vegan friends and family, and you're vegan of course, and you're in an environment where those conversations keep arising about veganism, but you can't walk out the door or go hang out with some vegan friends or go to a vegan restaurant. Instead, you're stuck in that environment. And so I think we should use this time very effectively to improve the way that we do discuss veganism. We do have a unique opportunity. I mean, when we think about what's happening right now, so many people, probably more now than ever, are turning to the internet for wisdom, for guidance, or even just for distraction.
I can totally relate to this powerful and effeminate gelfling vegan activist, Earthling Ed. My wife's boyfriend's house is nearby, so I get a few nights a week with peace and quiet in my smart city coffin apartment where I can focus on my online vegan activism and play some Nintendo Switch without having to use my headphones. She refuses to go vegan for the animals, so I told my speciesist carnist wife I'd prefer if she stayed at her boyfriend's house more permanently until she stops being so selfish and supporting the murder of innocent animals.
So I guess my first question is this: is anyone else sick of pretending like meat eaters, more specifically people that harm animals, more specifically just basically anyone who's not vegan, who has been educated and refuses to stop harming animals, is anyone sick of pretending to ignore the fact that they are responsible for causing the majority of the world's problems today?
Yes. I am so sick of non-vegans. I've socially distanced myself from most carnists. I can't stand my family and have disowned all my old bigot animal abusing friends. My activism is the most important thing for me. I am doing this for the animals. I am not depressed, sickly, confused and hangry from depriving myself of the most important foods for human beings and reinforcing a self-refuting, self-loathing, anti-human worldview that leads me to isolate myself from those who love me and slowly starve myself into dementia. I am mad because non-vegans are causing all the problems in the world. The only thing I hate more than speciesist animal murdering bigot non-vegans are former vegans who now eat meat and say it made them feel so much better. I just heard one of my former vegan idols has come out as an ex-vegan. This upsets me so much, but I feel strangely excited because I now have a new temporary fleeting sense of purpose and someone to project all my frustration onto. I am reinvigorated with energy to fight this new enemy and prove once and for all that veganism is the way, the truth, and the life. Let's check out vegan YouTube to see how I should react to this earth-shattering news that John Venus is now eating meat and help stomp out and shame this former vegan for his obviously wrong and irrational decision to stop associating with us rational, healthy people and our totally not a cult vegan lifestyle.
Someone was saying, yeah, you know, I'm anti-racism, and then like the next week they're like, nah, I'm actually kind of racist, I'm going to introduce a bit of racism into my lifestyle now. Or, you know, I'm anti-domestic violence, oh no, I'm going to introduce a little bit of domestic violence into my lifestyle now, beat my wife on the weekends. Oh, I'm anti-child abuse, yeah, anti-child abuse for 5 years, and now I'm going to start, you know, paying for children to be abused, and, you know, like...
Toxic masculinity. Now you can pin that on your kid all you want, but I saw it happen with, in Michelle's video, she cites some comments on John's live chat that he did recently from Tommy Kelly, who used to be Tofu Tommy, who I blocked on Facebook 6 months ago when he started talking bullshit about how a nurse was telling him he had to eat non-vegan things. Guys, if you want to be the big man, the big daddy, the big I'm the father, I'm the hunter, with a spear, I must be man. You see, that doesn't exist anymore. That's not a real thing, and that's not what being a real man is. In fact, can you just add 2 letters to the front of that? Human. Can you just be a decent human? And John, citing that you were 5 years an ethical vegan and now you're going to start eating deer and fish that you kill yourself like big man does, big man, is just bullshit. You were never an ethical vegan then.
I think you said a few things that maybe are kind of contradicting to what the word vegan means. Vegan means you are ethically standing for animals, that you won't harm them in any way. So with that being said, once you say you're vegan, that means you're vegan for life. The difference would be if you chose to eat only plants and vegetables and fruits and those things of that nature, no animals, but then you went back to eating animals. That would be more of a plant-based approach, because again, I just want to state this one more time. Once you say you're vegan, then that means for the rest of your life that you're standing up for animals and that you're not harming them. So John has now chosen to eat animals, consume animals, him and his wife. And they can do that if they want to. You know, that's their choice. And like I said, I used to do that. I used to hunt. And the one thing that I would just say and challenge John to on this, one, he can't say that he is ever vegan, because now he's consuming animals again.
As I said before in my vegan versus plant-based video, there is absolutely no such thing as an ex-vegan. You're not going to see someone who spends their time fighting against sexism to then turn around and say, you know what's fantastic? Oppressing women. I think I'm gonna reintroduce some domestic violence back into my life. I'm gonna reintroduce some patriarchal conditioning back into my life. That's gonna really take it to the next level. It just does not work like that. You're never gonna see someone who's taken a strong stance against racism to then turn around and say, you know what really fires me up? Prejudice. I think I'm gonna reintroduce systemic oppression back into my life. I think I'm gonna reintroduce segregation back into my life. It just doesn't work like that. I understand that I have a responsibility to myself and I have full accountability over my health, habits, and lifestyle. But no matter what I choose, it will never change the fact that I am a vegan.
But John, he's straight up f***ing ahead. A narcissistic human supremacist sociopath who has been pretending all this time to be against injustice so he could make a living out of it, but has been committing crimes against animals behind everyone. I really don't get why anyone is surprised about this, honestly. He already admitted his bird-ass ovulations eating fetish a few months ago. So he claiming that he's no longer vegan, it's pretty pointless to me because he already admitted it before.
Honestly, it's just so arrogant of him to just think he is entitled to go out and hunt. Just as a vegan community, we need to be so careful about who we're putting on a pedestal because these people are just shallow. You are not entitled to go out and shoot deer, and you're looking forward to the experience like some sort of psychopath. I'm really looking forward to that experience. Like, so disappointing.
Again, John, you keep repeating the same lie that you used to be vegan, you're a former vegan. No, John, you were never vegan, and that's why it's so easy for you to partake in this violence yourself. I'm sure if you were actually vegan before, it would be a hell of a lot more difficult for you to commit animal abuse by gutting fish open while they're still alive and gunning down deer. This is all just complete nonsense. This guy was never vegan. Both of them are just lying frauds, and they're both just horrible, selfish people. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hopefully I don't have to make another video on these people.
I see a lot of nutrient deficiencies in a lot of different people, not just vegans. In fact, I see very few nutrient deficiencies in vegans, and it's easy to treat if I do find it, vitamin D deficiency or things like that. But you're not doing veganism for health reasons. It happens to be extremely healthy, and we've got tons and tons of evidence regarding that, and I've published that in my book and on my social media feeds. I'm a vegan for an ethic. And if you're vegan for an ethic, the idea of leaving that because of a nutrient deficiency seems a little bit strange to me. It means you no longer have that ethic.
The guy has never been vegan. He was just an apologist, plant-based poser. He never gave a f***. Obviously not, because vegans never go back. These are always plant-based posers. Let's just get that straight, okay? Because veganism is an ethical lifestyle about animals. Yes.
It is clear that John Venus was never really vegan. You don't just stop being vegan. You can start being vegan, and we all should start, but you can't stop being vegan. If you do, you were clearly never really vegan and were just plant-based. I didn't realize that John was already exposed for being never really vegan when he confessed and apologized for eating 3 eggs a while ago. Vegan Gains, a mentally and physically healthy, sterile young vegan activist and role model, exposed this lying non-vegan subhuman piece of filth months ago. We need to start exposing these fake vegans who were really never really vegan before they come out as never really vegan, so we don't have to deal with the disappointment and hassle of publicly ritualistically shaming them with our mantras in our predictable repetitive response videos we have to make to tell everyone that the apostate defectors were never really vegan, so more people will join us in saving the animals and not want to be never really vegan.
Okay, so your wife is a nutritionist, and your wife is an ethical vegan, and you decided to, like, where did you even get this idea from? Just random reads online?
The idea of eating eggs. So basically,
these bigot idiots who get these insane, irrational ideas like eating eggs or real animal foods must be so mentally deranged. I can't fathom how anyone believes this fake poser was ever really vegan. He was so clearly never really vegan. We need to find better ways to ensure that people in veganism, which is totally not a pathetic cult, keep these terrible ideas like eating eggs out of their minds so we can keep the animals safe from mass murderers like John Venus and my speciesist family who I disowned for being never really vegan.
Okay, cool. So you don't encourage anyone to do any kind of experiment like this where they eat eggs or something?
no, as I said in the other video, I don't encourage anyone unless there is absolutely if they've tried. What I said in the other video is if someone has tried absolutely everything and they just can't leave the idea behind, and it's the only thing they can do, and they have to experiment, then do it. But try absolutely everything else first, because.
What do you mean? Okay, what do you mean by that? Go in further detail. Like, try. If they have to do this, like, what would require somebody to eat animal products?
So if someone is not able to overcome their issues, mental issues, or for example, for me, it was a psychological, it was an emotional thing that I was going through, and for me, for some reason, I had to go through that to come out the other side and realize certain things, right? So if
you're
that is
saying
the case
what
for
you
someone,
did was justified?
No, but it was
Okay, well, you just said you
justified
had
in my
to do
mind,
it.
but it,
Well, wait a second. You just said that if somebody has to do it to have mental peace of mind, then, go ahead and eat animal products. So you just said you had to do it, so did you have to do it to have mental peace of mind?
I mean, no one has to do anything, right?
Vegan Gains has him cornered. Everyone can see that John was never really vegan now. So many people will want to stay vegan and not become never really vegan after seeing this. I am so relieved that we outed this poser. This will help convince more mentally healthy people to join us in saving all the animals and giving human rights to animals and animal rights to humans now.
Look, this brings us to the next point I was going to bring up. Let's say in a alternate universe, your copy of you in an alternate universe did this exact same experiment, but it turned out that after you ate these eggs, you felt way better. You felt 10 times better. And you even got blood work done, your blood work improved. Let's say your cholesterol was lower, your markers of inflammation was lower, your, vitamin and mineral status went up. What would you have done then?
What would I have done? Well, I would have, explored that further by, realizing what is in the egg that maybe I might have been missing, and
let's say you could only get it from
plant
eggs.
source.
Let's say
If I could
in this hypothetical universe, you could only have gotten this from eggs.
And I could only heal myself by eating eggs, you mean?
Yeah, sure.
What are you asking? If it's morally justified to eat eggs, if it's the only way to heal yourself?
Yeah, if you're saying you have a back injury.
Yep.
Let's say after eating eggs, your back injury cleared right up, and the only thing that would have cured it was eggs. Do you think it's morally justified to eat eggs?
Yes.
Okay, so I would say right then and there, you're not vegan. Veganism isn't about you. It's not about your own personal well-being. It's about reducing unnecessary suffering and death. Do you think it's absolutely necessary, John?
Do you think most vegans would agree that, you have to, in order to be vegan, it means that you should sacrifice your own health and your own well-being in order to be vegan. Obviously, that is not. Luckily, it's not the case.
Okay, John,
but
listen.
In this
Okay,
hypothetical world that you're talking about, obviously, you can't expect people to kill themselves before eating animals.
Okay, well, John.
Wow. What a selfish idiot. Veganism is not about you. It is about the animals. We should have known you were never really vegan when you selfishly had a child who could potentially become never really vegan. The worst thing for the animals are humans, and you thought it was acceptable to make a new one. This guy is totally irrational and dangerous.
Well, are you saying that if you would not eat animals if you knew you were going to die in a month if you didn't? And
no.
if you say
Look, I wouldn't. I don't care.
you wouldn't eat animals.
No.
Yeah, and you think that is the same answer that everyone else who's
I don't
vegan
care what everyone else will give. Look, John.
But what does that say about you?
Look, John, that says I'm not so selfish that I think I'm at the center of the universe where I can just murder things because my back kind of hurts. It hasn't been getting better in a while.
Yeah, but if you're gonna kill yourself, for the animals, what's the point?
Look, John,
No, answer, man. Like, I'm interested.
Look, John, this is a moral topic that is outside of the scope of the actual discussion, so I'm not going to bother right now.
Gaslighting is a psychological phenomenon whereby an abuser makes you the victim question your very reality. They might do this by telling you you're wrong, by making up lies, by telling you that they know better, that they know what's best for you, your health, your family, your future. Gaslighting is caused by abusers who are struggling to control their victim. So they use these underhand but very effective psychological techniques to do so. But telling vegans that they've been brainwashed is actually just one of the gaslighting techniques I want to highlight. If you believe that you are being gaslighted, then speak out. Come and speak to someone. Make friends within the vegan community. Carnists will try to befriend you. They'll try to say, the vegan ideology, you've been brainwashed, come over here. That's brainwashing. That is the actual brainwashing.
What's up, everybody? I got Tommy here, Tommy Kelly, formerly known as Tofu Tommy, the activist formerly known as Tofu Tommy, coming to join us today. What's up, dude?
Thanks for having me on, Tristan. Just before, I was going to say, I asked my wife's boyfriend, he said it was okay for me to come on, but he did say, in his words, don't let that toxic, masculine, non-essential, good global citizen gaslight you.
Well, I'm glad you asked him. I'm glad you asked permission. I also, my wife's boyfriend
Absolutely.
said it. My wife's boyfriend, he said it's okay if I do it. I told him you were still vegan, and he said that's fine if I talk to you. But dude, good to finally do this, man. Great to finally have you on.
Thanks for having me on.
I gotta say, you got one of my favorite accents in the world. Got that thick Scottish accent, man. I love it.
It's not the easiest to understand, I must say, but I try my best. I've got to kind of put on a different accent, speaking in my usual daily accent, but
I like it, man. Lay it on thick, dude. All right, we got a few super chats here. Let me read these super chats before we really get into the plant-based meat of this chat here today. Evan Schultz, thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. Sends 1777. One penny away from 1776, the day after what's it called, the U.S. Independence Day, as they call it. Evan says, Jay butchered my super chat from yesterday. The faux Italian meat company I need you to rep is A Salami Legum. A Salami Legum. Learn to read, Jay. Anyway, get back to me stat on the sponsorship. There we go. So sponsorship from Asalami Legume. Are you guys trans vegan phobes? Are you cool with me being a trans vegan? Because if so, I'm down. We need some sponsorships here because YouTube is showing no love, and sometimes that audience is dang stingy. But you're not stingy today, Evan. Thank you for supporting, my friend. Faye 2000 cents, $2.99 in pounds with a little bird. No, not a bird. It's like a little not toxically masculine pair giving a thumbs up, and I appreciate that. Vegan phobic chat sends go vegan and kale yourself for the animals. Guys, check out Vegan Phobic's channel. I liked your recent edit. What was it called? Vegan Phobic. Vegan Cuck compilation. Pretty funny. Pretty funny clips in there. All right, so here we go, Tommy. What the hell's up with this Tofu Tommy stuff, man? I saw your channel like 2 years ago when everybody started coming out with this ex-vegan stuff. We were seeing a lot of response videos. And I think I remember you actually putting out some response videos to the ex-vegans back in the day. And that was my first exposure to you. So, yeah, dude, how did you become Tofu Tommy? What's the genesis story there?
Yeah, well, there's an awful long story, obviously, going back. Full disclosure, I used to have an eating disorder in the past, which obviously started with the loss of my mum. So it was all based around grief. It was never based around food. I actually had a relapse round about the end of 2014, which was with the loss of my dad. He was actually suffered a massive stroke down his right side, and he passed away just within about 4 weeks because his heart stopped and things. So I obviously relapsed at that point. I was admitted to hospital. Yeah. And in the hospital, I actually met a vegan, and she actually got talking to me about a lot of different things about the ethics and things. And she always said that, why do you draw this arbitrary line with animals? She says, you say you love your dogs, but you'll gladly go out and you'll eat a steak. At that minute, it obviously hit me because I used to work in a slaughterhouse. I was a slaughterhouse meat packer. So I suffered a lot of PTSD and things due to that reason. So I come out of hospital roughly about 3 months later, started to look into like YouTube and things. And the first thing I looked up was vegetarian, but it actually threw up channels like Durian Rider and things like that. And it was all vegan. So I decided I was going to try and go vegan. But over the next roughly 6 months, I started doing a lot of kind of looking into YouTube. I went to a lot of vegan festivals. And then I met the Save movement at this vegan festival, and they said to me, look, we do vigils and things. Would you like to come along to a vigil sometime? So I decided to do that. I went to my first vigil, and then on January 2016, which was my 36th birthday, I went vegan. And then overnight, and then within roughly about 3-4 months, I actually looked into starting the local chapter for Save Movement and Anonymous for the Voiceless in my area. And I became an organizer for both of them, and then started my kind of activism from then on.
Well, I mean, that was like a steep slope that you dropped into the veganism on, man. You just jumped right in on the deep end.
Yeah, absolutely. At that point, obviously, I was quite unwell at one point, but I would say for maybe about the next year, I was getting a lot better. I started putting on weight and things like that. And then roughly when I got to about the 2.5 year mark, things just went downhill massively. I started suffering a lot of weight loss, which was impacting my recovery at that point. I was getting things like constant migraines, mouth ulcers, and I had this real stabbing pain right under my left rib, which felt as if somebody had actually stabbed me. And I was suffering low calcium, which was quite funny. They didn't know how that was actually happening, but constant low calcium. I was constantly having blood in my stools, going to the toilet up to about 12 to 16 times a day. And I had this really bad memory loss. It was that bad that my wife would say something to me, and within like 2 minutes, I would forget what she said. And she says, do you not remember I told you that? And I said, you never told me anything. But I had this really bad memory loss and brain fog. And it got to the point that what really pushed me over the edge was my wife started crying. She says, look, you're killing yourself here. And she says, all because you love these animals. And she says, you're listening to all these people that don't really care about you. They're only caring about the ideology. They're not really caring about you. And I still didn't do it. And that's what a lot of people say. They say you were never really vegan. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it, to be vegan, you've got to follow a plant-based diet. So if you can't follow a plant-based diet, you're not vegan. So obviously it comes into the fact that veganism is a philosophy. It's about the animals and things like that. And I've always said that. That's fair enough. But if you can't follow a plant-based diet, you're no vegan. And I was even slurring speech and things like that, which my wife actually thought I had a stroke because the side of my face was actually drooping at one point. And that's how bad it got. And then my eating disorder nurse and my therapy team, my doctor, my dietitian, they all stepped in and they said, look, you were doing absolutely great. They says, we've now give you an ultimatum that you actually start doing what we say or you'll end up being in the hospital if you keep going the way you're going. And at that point, I walked away and I said, look, I'm going to do it, but I don't think this will work. And I believed it wouldn't, because I thought that everything that was all my fault. It was the eating disorder past, everything that everybody said online, which is absolutely nonsense. But I obviously went away, thought I was obviously just going to get worse and worse, and then didn't actually do anything to around about a month later. It was roughly about August 2019, I actually started adding in eggs. And it took me roughly about 4 or 5 months to actually add in things like fish. And it was people that obviously, Bobby's perspective, Drew Morg especially, he was reaching out to me constantly, giving me support and things like that. And obviously vegan friends as well. There was a lot of good vegan friends that I've got, and I want to say that. There's a lot of bad people that's in the vegan community as well, but there's a lot of good people. And like I've always said, what works for one person doesn't work for another. And I'm happy for anybody to do what they feel is best. But to tell me that I should kill myself just to fulfill their ideology, I think was absolutely crazy.
It's your journey really kind of mirrors the intro that we just watched, right? With Vegan Gains saying, "Oh, well, I wouldn't eat animals if I knew it was the only thing I could do to heal myself, and I was going to die. I wouldn't eat animals because I'm not selfish." And I remember seeing some of your videos about ex-veganism, or I'm sorry, people who are never really vegan. And here's a video I got pulled up here. It's from you. Vegan Gains drama, and Charles Marlowe joins the ex-vegan bandwagon. I didn't really go through and search for too many more, but this one did pop up as like a recommended video in your thing. So it seems like this was February 2019. So this is about what is this? 8 months before.
Yep.
6 or 8 months before you finally decided to eat animal foods. At this point, right, like early 2019, less than a year before you went never really vegan, ex-vegan, before you started eating animals again and feeling better, how were you dealing with this psychologically? Like, were you feeling a pull to leave this vegan thing? Were you feeling that you were sick, or was it only your wife telling you what she saw and giving you her opinion that really made you see it?
I felt it was absolutely sick, but the thing that really bothered me was because I felt it was really, really hard to speak out about things, because I felt everybody was going to kind of shun me, like what happens quite a lot. So they've got this kind of cult mentality, which has happened quite a lot. The people that obviously thought were my friends were never really my friends in the first place, and they disowned me. There is quite a few friends that I've got that's still vegan, that obviously have supported me through thick and thin, and which is quite surprising. But at that point, I just really, I didn't know what to believe. I believed it was my own fault. I didn't want to speak out about it because I had to put on this facade that everything was all about veganism, that I was healthy, that I was going to get through it. Just what a lot of everybody else that's obviously been an ex-vegan could probably relate to themselves.
Yeah, I feel like there's so many. I feel like most vegans spend a majority of their vegan journey in that state of like denial, right? And lashing out at the world around them, saying, "Oh, you were never really vegan," or "This person doesn't care enough. I'm a real vegan. I'll never be ex-vegan." It's like, why do you keep saying this? It's like a mantra, I mean, it's and you get love bombed when you first get into it. And this is one of the tactics that cults use. When you first join, they love bomb you, right? You're in the middle of this, big envelope of cosmic love and your new cult and this new false religion, and you feel so good, you feel accepted. You feel like you're surrounded by, your true friends, your real family, right? And they even talk about, cutting off your family, which I always put that in some of these edits as well. Like the edit we watched in the beginning with Earthling Ed saying, "Oh, I feel so sorry if you have to be around your families. Oh, we just know it's so difficult to have to be around your non-vegan families and all these subhuman non-vegans," and it's crazy. But then as soon as you even express doubt about what's going on, it seems like the cult now is so worried, and they're so preemptively jumping on people that, John Venus, before he even went ex-vegan, he just ate a few eggs and expressed a little bit of doubt. And he was like immediately excommunicated. People, "Oh, we're going to distance ourselves from this guy. He's a fake vegan." I mean, it's so freaking culty.
That's the thing. A lot of people don't even understand. There's a lot of people in the background that's actually not vegan at the moment. They're still putting out vegan content, and they're even putting things on Instagram that's obviously vegan. That they're reaching out to me and they're saying that they've been introducing vegan products for maybe about 4 or 5 months. There's actually a girl, I don't want to mention any names, but she's actually suffering with cancer at the moment, and she's still putting out vegan things, and she's reached out to me and she said that I've probably saved her life, because she knew that what happened with me, that she had to add in animal products because her doctor had been telling her for months, and she's too scared to speak out about it because people will shun her, and she's got stage 3 cancer. It's shocking.
It's did you feel a desire to hide the health issues that you were having that you thought may have been coming and stemming from veganism while you were putting out this, pro-vegan content?
Yeah, obviously I really did, but it was really, really hard, because I felt like if I put that out there, it was going to turn everybody away, and everybody would say it was about me, and it was never really about the animals, which happened anyway. Like I say, if I'd have probably been honest for the start, I would have saved myself probably another year in getting my health back, because when I started to introduce animal products, within roughly 3 months, the health increase was right away.
It's staggering looking at the difference. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pull up an image, and if you want to elaborate a little bit on that limbo state, right? You mentioned you feel like you lost a year, so it sounds like you experienced about a year of doubt that you kind of covered up and kind of psychologically projected this, cocksureness about, oh, this is working, I'm good, veganism's cool, there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing wrong with me. And could you elaborate a little bit on what that was like, feeling doubt, but then pushing out into the world that image that you're not doubting it at all?
It was a feeling I've been lost, because what I actually done was a step back from activism roughly about a few months before that. And I think people then, probably in the activism scene, kind of guessed there was something not right. And then I started to obviously put out information on Facebook saying how much I was suffering, and I thought I just didn't believe in it anymore. And people were kind of saying, well, oh, it's okay, go and do what you want, but you'll be back to veganism in no time. And I did believe that myself. I thought that probably what would happen was I wouldn't get any better. I would straight be back to veganism, or if I did get better, I would be straight back being vegan right away. But what actually happened was roughly about January this year, I actually started to go vegan maybe for about 3-4 weeks to see just if that would make any difference. The minute I added in animal products, all the health issues come straight back right away, which told me there and then that definitely what it was. But I had to do it for my own self-conscience, to know that I wasn't doing something and obviously going against my morals, which a lot of people said that I did do. But my morals have always been based on Christianity and basing my worldview on a creator, and that's what it's always been about.
All right, so here I've got a video pulled up of when you were actually vegan, just to get an idea of kind of how you looked and felt. I mean, you look significantly different. The skin tone, completely different. Well, you have more hair now. It seems like you were losing a patch of hair back then.
I was, yeah. When I was getting in the shower, I was getting clumpy bits falling out all the time.
Yeah. Wow. And now you look like your hairline looks straight. Like I don't see any clumps missing like this one, man.
No.
Your
Even
eyes.
the dental issues as well. The dental issues, I had constant mouth ulcers all the time. It was absolutely horrendous.
You ever go back and look at some of the old vegan content and reflect?
To be honest, I'm absolutely scared to go back looking at it because it repulses me, and that's the God's honest truth.
Yeah.
I just can't look at it. I've got it up there because a lot of people say that I should take it down because it's vegan content. But at the end of the day, the way I look at it, that's 4 years of my life that I gave to that. So why should I just wipe that out?
It's crazy. These people, they want you to erase your history and pretend like you were actually never vegan. Is it vegans or non-vegans saying you should pull down your vegan content?
It's vegans, yeah.
Isn't that interesting? That's pretty crazy. Did they DM you saying this, or did they comment saying this?
Comment, DMs, but the worst DMs I've ever had, and this is the real point that really made the decision solid for me, was when they attacked my wife. Like, full disclosure, my wife's had ovarian cancer. She had 4 miscarriages, which was misdiagnosed as polycystic ovarian syndrome. And then she had to have a full hysterectomy, and she was vegetarian all her life up until that point. When she went for chemotherapy, the surgeon that she was under he basically advocated like a carnivore diet, and he basically said to her, I want you to add in red meat, I want you to add in dairy. He says, I think it will make a massive difference, because she was at the point where she was nearly dying with blood loss because she had suffered anemia and things like that.
Oh man.
She went obviously added in the red meat and the dairy. It had a massive effect. She cured her cancer. Once I put that out online, actually saying that what had happened, they obviously attacked her and said that she deserved to die and have her cancer return because she obviously added animal products in, which I thought was absolutely disgusting.
And were these people that you knew that said this, or was this?
This wasn't people I knew. This was just like general online YouTubers.
Anonymous. Oh wait, YouTubers, like actual YouTubers, not just commenters?
They were just commenters, really, just
okay.
absolute trolls. But they were obviously coming for other people's channels. Obviously, that was common knowledge.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like some channels we're well familiar with here. We're well familiar with many of the audience members, and shoot, we might even have some. We've got some super chats here. At least one super chat from somebody who, one of these vegans who seems to have some strong feelings about this man eating meat and getting his health back, even though he probably has never met you in his life. So. Yeah, let me jump over here and read a few super chats, and I'll pause this video at the bottom here. But I mean, you guys can see the difference in his face, the bone structure. I mean, dude, your face was getting so crooked. You look like you had neuropathy in half your face there.
That's what I was saying. I actually had like this constant droop, and it was like I had a stroke. That's what my wife said to me. That's when she started crying. My face was absolutely drooping, and I couldn't speak. And it lasted maybe for about 10 minutes, roughly. It lasted, and then it was crazy. I didn't know what caused it.
Yeah. And okay, well, we'll get back. I want to ask you about the actual diet too, because one of the claims of, other than, right, you were never really vegan, right? Oh, you were never vegan is what they'll say. We'll talk about that as well. But another claim is you did it wrong. So I want to talk about that in a minute. So let me come over here to the super chats. We've got a $5 super chats. We got a V in the name. We got an iPhone Musings with a big V with a plant thing at the end of it there. He is a regular commenter. I'm guessing it's a man I'm guessing it's a male due to the aggression level. Tommy, please be an organ donor, so at least your existence can have some positive potential. By the way, you are a punk.
Savage.
Savage, man. So all right, so are you going back to vegan now after reading that comment?
All I would say to that is he can go and muse over his iPhone.
Okay. All right. Well, if you would just muse that again, I'm sure he'd love you back as a vegan.
I dare say we'd be friends if we met in real life, though.
I'm sure you would. That's funny. It's like, well, and what's going on with this guy that he's so upset? Why are you so mad that another man's eating some animal foods? Right? I mean, do your parents eat animal foods? Did your mama when you were in the womb?
Absolutely, yeah. That's the thing. I was brought up in things like liver and onions, pork chops, beef mince, all the cheap foods, because my family were quite poor actually, but I had a really good nutrition, and that's the things I was brought up on.
You were an athlete, right? So I'm wondering if iPhone Musings was also raised on these foods and if his parents were as well. But you were an athlete growing up, right? Like you were actually a legitimate athlete. Not like, not somebody who lifts some weights, not, a washed up bouncer. You're not a vegan athlete on YouTube, right? Which the bar is so low for like a high level vegan athlete. It's Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan. He shoots a few hoops every week and he's an athlete. But you were a legit athlete, weren't you?
I played for Scotland under 17s and West Bromwich Albion in England as well. So,
what positions you play?
I was a right winger and a striker as well.
So you were sprinting. You were fast.
Absolutely. I was really, really fast. Yeah, that was my kind of main thing.
Fast and aggressive.
Yep.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm back now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, yeah.
All right, we're back live. So we've got Jenny T.O. sending Nox. I think those are not North Korean. I think that's Norway. Norwegian. 50 Norwegians says, awesome sauce. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for the support. Really appreciate all the support you guys give. This is, these streams are floated by, these streams are supported by you and you only. So if you guys want these streams, you want more of this content, please support the work we do here. The super chats are a great help and they make it worth it coming on here and putting on a good show. Baloo Bear sent it $5. Thanks, Baloo Bear. Helen Guilford sends $4.99. Says, I'm glad you're getting healthy. You can't help anyone if you die.
Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that.
All right, let's see. I got one more here. I got to refresh the page because it's... Refresh this page here. Sorry, guys. If you get some lagging, you can always just refresh and the stream will be back. Hell, let's see. Oh, there we go. Laura Painter. Thank you so much. Laura Painter sends $9.99. Says, thank you for sharing your story. It's very brave, knowing this will only further the attacks. I remember Mr. iPhone. He wanted to beat up John Venus. I think I could take him. You know what, Laura? I do know Laura, and Laura, thank you so much for supporting your support of this stream and the support that you give sometimes behind the scenes. Very, very appreciated, and I agree. I know you, and I'm not just saying this. You probably could take most most of these vegan dudes. So thanks, Laura. I appreciate that. So yeah, man. So you were an athlete growing up as a young guy, and obviously the eating disorder and everything that you dealt with after these tragedies probably negatively affected your health dramatically, right?
Yeah, obviously I lost my football career because of that, because my mum died when I was 17 and I was actually working in the slaughterhouse at that point, and I suffered damage below my left knee, so I've got no feeling below my left knee. I've got a dropped left foot, so that's what kind of caused my eating disorder. It obviously, well, that was the part of the weight loss from the eating disorder that caused that to actually happen. So that obviously caused to lose my football career. So that kind of put an end to that. And then I got better for a long, long while, and I get back to work. And then I met my wife 2000, and we get married in 2006. So this will be 14 years this year. And then obviously a couple of years later, obviously that happened with her health, and that caused me to have the relapse, and then the relapse with my dad. So it's always been a bit grief, but I've been well over it for roughly about easily 3 years. And I've been eating really, really well. And that's the thing that they don't understand. I was eating a massive amount of calories, and I'm actually eating less now. I'm eating about 2,800. I've had one of the best dietitians from Harley Street in London. She's been in part of my care for a long, long time. And it just got to the point, like I say, I just can't digest anything. And I was even supplementing well. I was supplementing with B12, vegan omegas, and I was even supplementing up to probiotics as well. So I was doing all that, and I went to obviously Goji Man as well, which they obviously say you should go to Goji Man for help.
Yeah. Okay, so you publicly came out and said, look, I'm having some health issues. I'm going to need to start eating animal foods. Or did you eat animal foods and then publicly come out and say, I've been eating animal foods because I needed some help?
No, I obviously come out and I actually said, I put out a video roughly about, I think it was about June last year. It was basically talking about my health issues and things like that. And it was basically saying that I had like the stabbing pain below my left rib and all the issues that I was having. Then my friend Kirsty actually set up a GoFundMe to actually go and get tests done by Goji Man. And that obviously get done. A lot of people donated to that, which I felt really, really guilty about, because I felt that their money get wasted because nothing actually happened about it. I got the SIBO test done. It obviously come back negative. Then a lot of issues happened. Basically what happened was I was emailing Goji Man. He said he was emailing me. He said he never got my messages, even though I seemed to be getting his emails in my spam filter and things like that. But he'd said they didn't have them at all. Then one of my vegan friends actually reached out to him and says, look, Tommy says he hasn't been getting any messages from you. Is there any way you can help him? And he obviously turned around and told her, look, Tommy's recovery team's at our best place to get him back in an even keel now. And that was it, left from then on. And then a lot of people say to me, well, you didn't get all the help done, but I used every avenue possible, really.
Yeah. So, all right. So the audience, was it your audience, or was it just like general YouTube people that were telling you, go to Goji Man, he's going to save you?
It was general YouTube, everybody on YouTube, and obviously people on Facebook and things like that. Basically all the vegan community and the vegan activist groups and things. So
yeah. And when you finally did reach out to him after, so you got a GoFundMe, didn't he offer to like do it for free for these vegan YouTubers? Like he said he would do Tim Shees for free. He didn't offer that for
Yeah,
you?
I think he did. I think he wanted to do Tim Sheaf's for free. Yeah, as far as I know. But
Okay, but he didn't offer to comp yours. Okay, so you sent it to, or you didn't end up sending. Did you send him a stool sample?
I sent him the SIBO tests, the
Okay.
SIBO breath test.
And did it say you had SIBO?
Come back negative. Yeah.
So no SIBO.
No SIBO. And then basically what was happening with there, we were going to get a follow-up call, but my wife took ill and we had to cancel it. And then I emailed him back to arrange another date.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said, is there a specific date you want to have next week? This was going over for about 4 months roughly, for about March right through to about August. I was seeing Goji Man. And then at that point I said, any time next week would be great. I says, I'm available every day. I never got an email back, and then he said he wasn't getting my emails. And then obviously my friend reached out to him, and then that was the kind of comeback that basically I was to do what I wanted, really.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people really think that Goji Man he's got the magic formula, right? He's got the special sauce. And if you just, if you send him your poo-poo in an envelope, I think it's an envelope, sealed envelope, guys, then he's gonna help you out. But it doesn't seem. Did it seem like he was interested in helping you at all? I mean, I'm not trying to throw Simon under the bus, but I would think he would be interested because he does seem like he wants to help people. He seems like he believes he can.
He seems like a really good guy. I mean, I got on great with him, and he seemed as if he wanted to help. But I just don't know what went wrong for there on. Just was kind of cut off for some reason. Okay. And I actually sent you the screenshots of the things so people know that's definitely what happened, because a lot of people say, well, you just must have cut them off, but I didn't. Like, I was sending them emails, I wasn't getting anything back. Yeah,
you did. I've got those here. I don't really want to pull them. I don't want to show someone's emails or anything like that. But I believe you, and then I mean, it seems like that is what happened, and it makes a lot of sense. So I mean, maybe he just didn't know what to do, and from his position, it was probably a difficult case, and maybe didn't want to take you on to try. But it's, dude, I mean, I'm look at you here and look at you now, man. I mean, this is
it's crazy.
Staggering difference, my friend. Like this is frightening.
Even the neck and the shoulders, it's like I've got a pencil neck there and everything. It's absolutely unbelievable. You can see it there. I've got quite a droop in the face as well. It's like,
yeah,
you see it in the smile quite a lot.
The whole face is going crooked, right? It's like you got neuropathy through the whole thing, and now looking at your face, it's like you got fat where you need to have fat on it. Like we should have fat on our face. Like we shouldn't have sunken in cheeks, and it looks like your glasses are about to fall off. Like they got nothing to rest on there, man. It's like, what are those things even hanging on to? You look like a different man.
I think the thing that really made the difference, like when I added in eggs, it didn't really make a difference, I've got to admit. But when I added in fish, that was massive for me. The brain fog and everything cleared massively. And I think that was basically down to the kind of EPA and DHA, which is obviously critical for brain health. And I think that most likely my conversion of the ELA was very, very low as well. And probably vitamin B6 and zinc as well. I think I was probably deficient in them.
Dude, I mean, just your eyes look different. Your nose looks different. Mouth.
That was actually the slaughterhouse that I actually worked at. We got Joey Cabstrong over from Australia, and he came to the slaughterhouse that I worked at, and we've done like a tour thing and things. So
yeah, Joey Cabstrong. Did you guys scream ripe? It's ripe for the animals. Yeah, man, this guy seems insufferable. I mean, I'm not trying to get you to throw him under the bus or something, but what was it like? I mean, obviously you were coming at this from an ethical standpoint. You thought it could be healthy. You were obsessed with the ethics. I mean, as you can see here, you're doing activism with Carbstrong. And what's it like being around some of these activists who are so embroiled in this? And when you go to vigils, when you go to a slaughterhouse like this, what do you remember of this? Because this is a few years ago, right? 2 or 3 years?
That would have been 3 years ago, yeah. Well, at that one, basically, for some reason, I've got to admit, he was great with me that day. He was speaking to me quite a lot. He was obviously talking about various things. I don't want to go into that because YouTubers would probably start. But yeah, a lot of people said that he was quite off with them. I don't know what it was. He was really, really intense. Maybe that's just the way he was. He wasn't really speaking to a lot of people, and they said, well, we've brought him all the way over here from Australia. We've paid these flights and things like that. He's came here and he's only spent a few minutes with us. And the funny thing was,
Wait, you paid for his flight from Australia? I thought he has Patreon people that give him like 7 G's a month or something to do his activism.
well, yeah, what we done was we had a GoFundMe. We obviously paid for like the flights and things. We done the same with James Aspey as well. James Aspey was an absolutely great guy. I've got to say that he's probably
He
the best
seems.
of them
I
all.
said he seems like the least insufferable. He does.
He's
He
great.
seems. He's the least bothersome of all
So
of them.
really, really laid back guy. He's got time for everybody, and that's what I really thought was different about him.
So was it that you offered to pay for Joey's flight and stuff, or is that how it works when you get the Joey Carbstrong treatment? You got to pay for everything.
Well, yeah, the girl, obviously Maria, she was the kind of one that was dealing with everything. What she actually had to do, she had to obviously get like a flat in place for him, obviously food in place, and obviously travel back and forth to vigils and things like that. And
She
we
had to
paid
do
his
all
flight
that.
flights.
She had to pay for his place.
She had to she had to arrange that. So one of the activists actually, I believe, gave him a free flat, if I believe right. So, and obviously the food and things like that, we had to get that in, and obviously his flights and things.
And you pay for
So-
it, right? Like the group pays for him to come, and
Yeah,
you pay for
exactly.
his lodging and his transport and his food.
GoFundMe and things like that. It was done through, yeah.
Okay, so you set up a GoFundMe. So what does his Patreon money go to? I thought he gets Patreon money so that he can do this. Where's that all going?
Yeah, well, that's the big question, I suppose. Not to say that he does that now. Maybe he'd less then, but at that point, his girlfriend Laura, she was working on she had his Patreon up and running. She was doing all his videoing, and she was driving him back and forth. So she took the side of obviously driving him back and forth to the vigils and things like that. So she done that side of things. So we didn't actually have to do that.
Oh, that's nice. That was nice of her. Man, so it's kind of like dealing with a celebrity, sounds like. So, yeah. So when you go to these vigils, not just this one, but when you go to a vigil, there's another picture. You look a little better here. You don't look so bad here. When's this one taken?
I think that's roughly maybe about, I would say January 2019, maybe.
You look better there than you did in some of the previous pictures.
That one's terrible.
Yeah, you can see the jaw. Your neck is looking, it looks painful, right? Like you look like you're in pain there.
I mean, I would say I was roughly under about 42 kilos, I think it was at that point.
Is it a vegan tattoo? The dog there? Did you get you got the tattoos after you were vegan?
Yeah, all the tattoos were done well before I was vegan, but I've actually got a vegan tattoo here, which, if you can see it.
What is that?
It's the animal liberation tattoo. It's the animal in the fist.
Yeah. What are you gonna do with that one?
I don't know. I'll need to get it covered. Well, I suppose I could say that it's me and my dog. I could probably get away with that.
convert the meaning. You can turn it to a trans vegan tattoo. So here's you. This is you mentioned the Save movement. Was it the Save movement that you were doing the vigils with Joey with, or was that this group?
That was the Save movement. Yeah.
So this group, you've got some lovely purple-haired ladies here with you, or is that purple hair or like black? These look like some very fun people to be around. This is the anonymous voice for the voiceless.
I've even still got the mask. This is a crazy thing that always gets me. They always talk about they're not about health, but their actual pamphlet that they give out is animals, environment, and health.
Exactly. That's what I said when I mentioned them a couple weeks ago on a stream. They have shirts and freaking posters, and they all say animals, environment, health. They always say that.
And the one thing that really got me is they're going and all slander John Venus at the moment. And every time a guy came to one of the Cubes of Truth, they would immediately tell him when he would discuss things about how do I get my protein, they would say, oh, well, Patrick Babumin's a vegan strongman and John Venus is a vegan bodybuilder. Yeah, now they're slandering. They were the two names they threw out instantly.
I wonder do they have to go back and edit those and say, or put subtitles to say never really vegan when they mention
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Probably. I mean,
But
legally.
Yeah, the cube of truth used to be like a kind of Socratic method. So basically what used to happen was you would obviously ask questions and get them to kind of come to the conclusion, but then they started to change it. And in my view, it got very deceptive because say a mother come up with her baby or her young child or whatever, they would start relating things to cows being like babies, and it was all about emotive feelings and things like that.
Yeah, emotional manipulation techniques and using language and changing the meaning of words, right? Look, that's a baby cow. They don't call it a calf. They say that's a person. That's a person too, just like you.
I mean, yeah, animals obviously are individual and they have feelings and everything like that, but I think they kind of try to anthropomorphize them quite a lot as well to kind of
individual. Isn't that a funny word? It's like, oh, this is an individual knife. Here's an individual flashlight. What is this individual? It's like they're trying to get you to personify it, like you said, anthropomorphize constantly.
And obviously as well, the thing that really got me was one day I remember this girl giving out dietary information, and what they weren't really supposed to do when you're actually doing a cube of truth anyway, but this little guy, he had Down syndrome and he actually had type 1 diabetes, and he came up to the cube and she showed him this little picture of a baby goat, and he started like crying and everything, and she says, do you know how you can cure this and everything? You can go vegan. And he says, but I'm type 1 diabetic. And she says, no, you can cure that through being vegan. And she was giving him all this information. And I was ready to step in, but I wasn't allowed to at that point. And it just got
Why aren't you allowed to speak? You're not allowed to speak?
No, if somebody's having a conversation, you're not allowed to step in. That's kind of the way it's supposed to go, unless they ask you to step in for obviously help if they don't know an answer to a question and things like that.
What other rules do they have? So only one person's allowed to talk?
Yeah, and really what they do is they do a thing called shadowing. Like, say Joey Cabstrong comes to a cube of truth, you'll stand behind Joey while he's doing a conversation, and you'll learn all the things that he says, and then you'll eventually go and actually talk to somebody yourself. And quite a lot of the times what I thought was a lot of people were just parroting things that he said with no actual knowledge of the basis of the truth, what they're actually talking about.
Where is he getting that from? Where's he getting his coaching from?
He gets it from the Vegan Education Centre, I believe, the same place that I was coached through as well.
Well, so we're going to get into that one maybe on a future stream. We've got Tommy's he's a wealth of information about how vegan activism works, the tactics that they use. I think the shadowing thing is a really funny one because it's like this is your initiation, right? You wear the mask, you become anonymous, you just hold it and listen, and you take in all the stimulus, and then you can regurgitate it later on once you, I guess. How do they tell when you're ready? How can they tell? Is there a day or an amount of time? How does that work?
Well, the way it actually works, say you're a vegetarian and you come to a cube of truth, they expect you to go vegan within like one cube of truth. So if you come back the next time, you have to be vegan before you can speak to somebody.
How do they ask? What do they interrogate you? How do they know?
Well, that's a good question. How do they know? But that is the rule, that if you come to one cube and you're a non-vegan or a veg, well, you can't even come. You can stand behind the cube and obviously have the mask on if you're a non-vegan, but you can't speak to anybody unless you're vegan. But if you're vegetarian, you've obviously got one cube of truth to actually go vegan before you can speak to somebody again. And then obviously you'll obviously do a lot of shadowing. Like I say, you'll probably do about 3 or 4 shadowing kind of sessions before you can actually speak to somebody. And then one of the kind of advanced activists will obviously stand behind you and kind of view what you're saying to people, and then they'll kind of critique you and things as well.
Yeah. So you have to be vegan. Is there ever like a confession? Like, do people ever come and like, look, I accidentally, or I made a bad choice. I ate some eggs yesterday. Anybody ever say that, or is it just like you don't talk about that kind of stuff when you're in these activist circles?
The only time that I would say that I've ever heard that was at a Save movement. That was in Australia, actually, when I went to Australia to do activism. This woman actually said at the vigil, and this is one of the ones that Joey was doing at, she turned around and she says, the girl said to her, is this your first time doing a vigil? And she says, yes. And she says, are you vegan? And she says, yes, I am. And she says, well, what does your diet include? And then she said, eggs as well. And then she says, well, you're no vegan, you can't get involved in the vigil and things. That was about the only time I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
But she actually had backyard hens, which I thought was pretty ethical because she was looking after them. She was feeding some of the eggs back to the chickens and taking the excess herself. So I didn't really see the problem with that.
So, so she admitted that she ate some backyard eggs and like talked about why it's maybe okay. This is, I'm not torturing them. I'm not buying them from the store. These are rescue hens. And they're like, nah, you can't, you gotta go. You're out of here.
Yeah.
She cry.
You see a lot of crying at the vigils. That's been honest. Like I say, guys crying, everything. That's probably the only thing I never ever cried. Like I say, I just wasn't like that. I care a lot about animals. I care a lot about people, and probably a lot of vegans will say, "Well, you can't care about animals because you're obviously you're no vegan anymore."
Yeah, never were vegan, right?
It really annoys me when obviously they lash out at my dogs and things like that. They say, "Well, what would you feel like if I ate your dog?" and things like that. And that really gets to me because dogs especially, we've been in a kind of relationship for thousands of years. Dogs have worked alongside man.
Yeah.
They're not in the food chain. They're totally different.
Dude, so they no matter what you're doing, it seems like these people are constantly nipping at your heels now. It's been like a year since you haven't been vegan and they're still bugging you about your dogs.
Oh, absolutely. I used to get that even when I was vegan because my animals were never vegan, and I totally disagreed with that. And I always said that that's kind of pushing your lifestyle on your own animals. And in my opinion, that's animal abuse in itself. And yet, how can you say that people that eat meat are having animal abuse, but you're actually feeding your dogs and cats a vegan diet?
Isn't that crazy? And these vegan dog foods and cat foods have been linked with, like, directly with cancer, heart attacks and heart failure in dogs from these pea protein crap foods that they get from China. These people will willingly give their animals just the worst quality kibble, and then they pretend this is somehow, that's what dogs eat and cats eat. And look, it's equal in protein. If you look at the label, you're getting the same nutrients from the plants as you are from the non-plants. And it's really deceptive.
Wolves.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's ridiculous. I'm gonna come over here and read some super chats. We got iPhone musings. Look at that. And I saw iPhone musings put a quote. He said, "I give more money than Tristan's so-called fans." I got to agree. He does. He supports more than a lot of you fans, a lot of you so-called fans out there. So iPhone musings.
Is that vegan though? Because the vegans would say he's supporting an anti-vegan. So
no, I run a sanctuary though. I'm not a dude.
That's true.
And I'm trans vegan too. So he's not a transphobe. So you're blowing it for me, Tommy. You're about to get rid of my only consistent. We got Laura Painter's always super chatting. iPhone musings. Evan Schultz. Vegan phobic comes through sometimes too. He's sent some really fat super chats in the past, but yeah, we have some good supporters. But iPhone musings, he's better than a lot of you people in the chat I see here all the time who ain't sending any love. So thank you, iPhone musings. I will read your comment because I know Tommy can handle it no matter what comes out of this one. He says, "Were you an ethical vegan, Tommy?" That's the first part of it.
Was I an ethical vegan? Did I spend 4 years of my life? Did I miss events with my wife? Did I be out the house constantly? Was I standing outside slaughterhouses in the pissing rain? Yeah, I was vegan.
Right? Were you an ethical vegan? Look, he hung out with this insufferable person for hours. He hung out with this guy. He heard him speak in person for hours. So I would say that is about as ethical vegan as it comes, as they get. He also says, "And no, Laura, you could not take me. I'm 6 foot, 250 pounds. My offer still stands for John if he wants." Whoo. iPhone musings, 6 foot, 250 pounds. No picture, no content on YouTube, but we're going to take your word for it. And I'm pretty sure John is intimidated. So Stefan, hey, what's up, Stefan? He's another ex-vegan, man. Stefan sending $1.99 in pounds. Sorry, Stefan, not Stefan. Stefan says, "Love these streams, man. Tommy is a great dude." I agree. Tommy's a good dude.
Right back at you, Stefan. Stefan's brilliant.
Yeah, Stefan. So check out Stefan's channel. He's another former vegan who's doing a lot better. We got Psycho Magnet. Psycho Magnet sending £5. Says, "Hey, Tommy, did you ever get involved in action you didn't want to / had concerns with due to fear of reprisal? welcome back to humanity, brother. Great question.
That's a good one. One that I would say was maps of slaughterhouses. That was one that I did get involved in, and I was really, really concerned about that because the police were onto it, and I believed that that was probably going to get me in massive amounts of trouble. Basically, what happened with that was the pig slaughterhouse near where I obviously done vigils. They actually started to get a map of the slaughterhouse to obviously. I don't know what the intentions were there because I actually left not long after it. I take it they were wanting a tour. They said they wanted a tour of the slaughterhouse and things like that, which wasn't going to happen. Like I said, definitely. Probably, I don't know. Were they intended to do something? Probably.
Yeah, the slaughterhouse maps are crazy. Those activists published a farm map in Australia. I forget what the website was called, but actually, the guy who did it, it was the Dominion guy. Do you know his name? The guy.
Oh yeah, I'm trying to remember his name again. I totally forget.
You know that his mother is like the agricultural minister of Australia?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? So the agricultural minister of Australia's son is the guy who made Dominion and is attacking animal agriculture, trying to abolish animal agriculture. So this woman is a technocrat that works in the government as the Minister of Agriculture, and she actually does own a farm as well. Isn't it? It's very, very strange there. Why is the Ag Minister's son making Dominion and putting out this farm map? But that's beside the point. But they were harassing these small family farms. The vegans in Australia were visiting these farmers' homes, were visiting their farms, breaking into them, harassing them, stealing animals, breaking property, destroying property. And I mean, this is a big deal. They just recently published a map in the United States, which, good luck. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see any of these people going to any of these ranchers' homes in Texas. I don't think you're going to see them going to ranchers' homes in Montana. No. Maybe they can go harass some Californians and some New Yorkers and some other places where people are a little bit less inclined to defend their homes and their properties. But the farm maps thing is nuts.
Australia's quite big for activism, especially Melbourne, Australia, that I was in round about 2018. Massive amount of activism going on there. That's the Cuba Truth's really, really big there. Obviously the vigils and things like that. There was a lot of that, obviously breaking into farms and things going on over there as well. You don't really see much of that in Scotland. I would say I've never really seen anything like that. And I would never get involved with that. That was something I totally disagreed with. And I always said that farmers were good guys, and that was one thing that probably got me a lot of backlash for, especially when I was in the Save movement. It caused me a lot of issues with other activists. They were saying that I was turning my back in the vegan movement. And even as well, actually talking about obviously what happened with that Regan Russell, that absolutely heartbreaking that she got run over with that truck driver. But that truck driver he basically get slandered. And what actually, the same thing that actually happened, we actually had somebody that did do something like that, that tried to obviously steamroll her through us. That was like a one-off. I don't know how that actually happened, but I actually got the police involved with vigils and things like that to obviously stop the trucks for us. That got me a lot of backlash from the Save movement because they thought I was being a mole. They said that I was getting the police involved and I was giving them information and things like that.
You were snitching?
That was
Wait, yeah, so were they doing illegal shit that you shouldn't be snitching on?
Well, exactly, yeah. But the only thing that I say, the way I get the police involved was for the safety of them and the safety of the slaughterhouse workers and everybody else, because people were doing silly things. They were standing in front of the trucks. They were standing up in the side of trucks.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Here's a picture of you standing on the side of a truck.
That was from the animal liberation truck. So what actually that was me and my friend Alan, he actually started an animal liberation truck, and it was legal saves. So what actually happened was farmers would give up animals and sanctuaries would buy them off them. And what actually happened was we would go and collect the animals and transport them to another sanctuary. So sometimes we would be away for like a day or 2 days. Alan done ones where he was away to France for like 3 and 4 days at a time. It was massive amounts of work.
And what were these so-called sanctuaries like? Because all these sanctuaries I've seen look like they're pretty miserable places for animals.
Yeah, I mean, I would really say that they're not a lot different for your regular farming. It's
They're
quite
like
crazy.
geriatric farms, dude. It's like farm retirement homes where the animals are miserable. I mean, they're getting goats multiple surgeries and spending thousands of dollars to keep a goat that should have been freaking seco de chivo or soup 6 years ago alive. This seems miserable.
Yeah, I remember obviously things like the chickens and things like that. There used to be ones that had no legs and they were in like wheelchairs and things, just the same as
Petunia.
those annoying vegans.
Petunia. Oh, I'm so sorry. You guys don't know, Petunia was the geriatric hen from those annoying vegans. And she passed away. Oh, sorry, guys. So all the petunias, they seem miserable. I mean, these chickens, they look so unhealthy, and they're feeding them vegan diets many of the time. I mean, at least those annoying vegans are complete hypocrites, and they'll feed it eggs and bugs. They'll kill animals to feed their chicken.
Yeah, obviously they've got pigs in that as well, and that's one thing that was definitely true that the truck driver said. The pigs, when you go to feed them bread and carrots and things like that, they'll try to take the hand off you. It's absolutely crazy.
They'll eat a human alive. You throw a person in a pig pen, if there's enough pigs in there, they eat you alive. It doesn't mean that they're starving. They gorge themselves on anything around them. They take their snout through dirt just all day looking for anything.
Yeah. But what you can actually do as well, a lot of the activists actually go and stay in these sanctuaries. So they'll go and obviously stay there and work and things like that to have the privilege of being round about the animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the sanctuaries seem like such a joke to me. It's kind of low hanging. It's kind of easy to make fun of the sanctuaries, but yeah, maybe we'll do a special stream on the sanctuaries here. We hit on this a little bit the other week. There's a few other super chats here. We're getting some support from the audience. Thank you guys who do support. Mostly vegans who are supporting right now. iPhone musings again says, Tommy. Where to go? Tommy, I will remove all those vegan tattoos for free. That way you will not have to walk around being a phony. You're welcome. We'll remove them for free. For some reason, I'm thinking his idea of removing them is probably very masochistic and violent.
I was thinking that.
Are you threatening to skin Tommy alive?
That's nobody vegan. Are you really vegan?
It takes the vegan tattoos off the skin, or else it gets the whip again. All right, we got another one from SW499 says, you guys are both great. So glad Tommy escaped the cult. And Tristan, your vids are brilliant. Thank you. Appreciate the support.
Thanks a lot.
You guys want more of these streams? Keep supporting. You want these to keep going? If you got any questions, send them super chats. Some people are saying they're not even allowed to super chat for some reason. Maybe if you refresh, you'll be able to. Sorry about that. I'll get Streamlabs going for those of you who for some reason can't super chat. If it won't let you super chat, that's kind of strange. But you can always support. There is a donate link down below. You can donate if you don't want to go via YouTube where they take a cut. And I always appreciate the support, guys. All right, so Tommy, here's a picture of you looking in on that truck. And you and I had talked about this. And this is coming up in the last video too. You mentioned you stick your hand in there, the pigs are going to go for it. Did you notice that when you were doing these, what's called bearing witness, which is one of the stupidest, gayest words I've ever heard. We're going to go bear witness to these animals. When you would go bear witness, did you notice that you were disturbing the animals at all? Did you think that these animals wanted this? And what were your views on that?
Yeah, that was another thing that caused a lot of chaos in the Save movement, because quite a lot of the times the trucks would obviously come up to the slaughterhouse, and what actually happens was you'd stop the trucks, you would get 3 minutes to, as they say, bear witness to the animals. But most of the time the trucks were really, really silent coming up. And the minute people got to the side of the trucks and started putting their hands in, the trucks would start rocking all over the place. And you would even sometimes, the slaughterhouse manager would come out and actually say, look, we've got to move them in because they're absolutely getting terrified here.
Yeah.
That happens quite a lot. And I think that probably they used to say that it was actually the flashes of the camera. So they used to say to make sure of your camera flash off, and they told you to actually take off your reflective jersey because they thought it was that was doing it. But it certainly wasn't, because even when you did do these things, that was still happening, because I think the animals were just terrified that they didn't know a kind of unfamiliar face to them. That was basically it.
It makes sense. I mean, if you come up and start harassing, I mean, think about like dogs. I remember that video with Earthling Ed when they broke in and terrorized this small family farm, and they caused the trampling of several pigs because the sows freaked out, stood up, and were spinning around because they're these weirdo people like Joey Carbstrong, Earthling Ed, and a bunch of dyed-haired, nose-pierced, purple-haired college student girls who were, fake crying with their phones out. I'm bearing witness. This is horrible. Those poor pigs are people, and they don't even have couches or iPhones. There's no iPads here. They have no cell service inside of here. This is so terrible. So that, and the sows are freaking out, and they trample these little piglets. And in that video, Earthling Ed is pointing out how terrible this farmer is because she's got a dog kennel, and there's like 10 dogs in this kennel, and they're freaking out, barking at her. It's like these are probably dogs that are there to guard the animals and guard the home. And Earthling Ed sitting there, oh, look, this is terrible how she's breeding these dogs into existence. All these poor dogs, right? And what do you people want to do to it, Earthling Ed? They want to euthanize these animals. They want them all dead anyways, right? So Joey Carbstrong, Earthling Ed will openly say that they promote euthanasia of the animals that they claim they're trying to save. And it's and the dogs are freaking out in that video, not because they're so starved and they're just so sad that they exist. They're freaking out because there's an effeminate gelfling in front of them, pointing his freaking iPhone at them with his, and then he's got his gimbal in his other hand, filming himself, filming them, bearing witness to himself from 3 different angles. And so they're freaking out. And my dogs would freak out as well if you came onto our property. My dog would freaking kill you if you come onto our property. So it's pretty weird and twisted the way these people see it.
And that's one thing that you touched upon there, obviously, the cameras and things like that. I think that's a big part of it as well, because a lot of people want to be part of something as well. And that's what I found quite a lot, because if like one of the top activists like Joey or Earthling Ed or James Aspey came to a vigil, usually we'd round about have maybe 5 activists. When they came, there was roughly about 200, and they were all wanting their pictures taken, and they were there for like 5 minutes and they were off. And that's actually what happens quite a lot, especially Joey and obviously James. And well, James stayed for the full vigil, but Joey and obviously that vegan couple and Earthling Ed, they were there for like half the vigil, but they make out on their videos that they're there for the whole vigil, but they only show you the wee parts that they've done. It's quite deceptive as well.
Wow. So they're just going there to get their clips, and that becomes obvious to people who are really able to read people.
And like I say, they're getting paid thousands and thousands each month, and people are going to these vigils, and some of these people are absolutely broken. They're paying out their pocket to obviously travel to the vigils. And the Save movement as well, which a lot of people don't understand. The people that run the Save movement, they're paid a full-time wage. And the organisers...
Wait, so that's all they do? That's all they do is the Save movement?
They're paid a full-time wage, and your organiser and your normal activist, they're paying out their own pocket. It's absolutely shocking.
Dude, that is nuts. And so we got that vegan... Is that what they're called? That vegan couple?
That vegan couple, yeah, that was in Australia for World Vegan Day in Melbourne.
Oh shit! I thought they were there as extras on The Grinch Who Stole Christmas 3, playing some of the residents of Whoville. So these are not extras from The Grinch Part 3. They're not Who's in makeup. These are real people. Oh, those annoying vegans.
At least the kangaroo ears are placed well there.
Kangaroo, that's a speciesist. That's definitely speciesist for sure. Man, so these people, when they come places, you're saying that it doesn't really seem like they are as in it for the animals as others sometimes, as maybe some of the activists who are paying their wages are, and it seems like they're more interested in just the quick photo ops.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. See if you've seen them off camera, the minute the camera goes on, they're all smiles, and it's a totally different false act. Yeah, especially hench herbivore, he done that actually at the vegan camp out. I remember he was walking past me and he looked quite moody. The next minute he turned around to me and he says, "Can you take my camera and film me?" And he started, like it was like totally.
Hench herbivore. Oh, I'm going vegan. Look at me. I'm hench hernia.
I just absolutely hate that. Just the fake act. You know what I mean? It's really.
Yeah, you seem like a really, I don't know, every time I've talked to you, you've just always been so open, and you're the kind of guy who's like, you just sit down with anyone and have a good conversation.
That's what I try to be. Like I say, if anything, I've probably been too open in the past, and that's why a lot of people have kind of used ammunition to obviously justify things that really didn't have the bearing in me lean veganism that actually happened.
Yeah.
Like they kept blaming the eating disorder and things like that when it wasn't that. Because if that's the case, why am I so well now doing the exact same thing but just adding animal products?
Yeah, and even having to eat less calories to maintain your health, right? Having to eat less to maintain your health. So that's hench right there. So where is this when you met Henchy Boy?
That's at the vegan the park in Scotland. That was the first ever one at that was 2018, I think that was.
So that the human hernia in the middle is hench herbivore. Yeah, I mean, I can almost smell him through this picture. It's like a strange, musky, moldy smell. Excuse me, but so yeah, these people maybe are a little bit different in person than they are on the video, huh? Except you said James Aspey was cool.
James Aspey was great. I would say Ed was quite good as well. I thought. I mean, he seemed to have a good bit of time for everybody, but Joey really off. Just something really intense about him. Whether that's his past or whatever that he's been through, I don't know. But he was just really intense, really off with people. Just didn't seem like the person that he is. Well, he did seem like the person he is on camera. Really aggressive, really.
There's you with Guffling Ed. Man, he must have some really good filters to get his skin not to be so gray in his videos that he puts out.
That was probably one picture that actually looked quite decent, and I thought actually.
You look like you're there, like giving him health tips in this picture.
At that point, my face looks quite chubbier, but at that point, I was actually suffering with edema in the face and the legs. So that's why I've got quite a puffy face. Kind of deceptive, really.
Oh, so the edema would almost make you look normal. It would kind of normalize you.
Yeah, exactly.
That makes sense. And did the edema and the swelling, once you started eating eggs and then fish, did that change?
Yeah, that pretty changed really quickly, I would say. Like I say, everything probably changed maybe within about 5 to 6 weeks, but I wanted to stay away from YouTube long enough to know that I was doing the right thing, and I just wanted to keep going and continuing that because I thought maybe it was placebo effect. It would probably stop lasting eventually, but it just continued to get better and better.
That's good, man. And you know what I've noticed too is from talking to you over the last year, it's just you get better and better verbally too, right? Like as you see more, I don't know, just more there, more present, more sharp, more witty and intelligent and funny.
Absolutely. That was one thing that really was really hard. Kind of putting my words into kind of getting them out there. It was really difficult because my brain would want to say one thing, but my mouth would say another. It was just total brain fog, memory loss, everything like that. That was probably the worst.
When I talked to Natasha Campbell Mcbride, Dr. Natasha Campbell Mcbride, and she does some really good work, and she helps a lot of ex-vegans to get their health back. And she talks about the health issues that the gut experiences from vegan diets. And she says that one of the first things you notice with vegans and vegetarians, especially vegans, one of the first things to go is the sense of humor.
Absolutely.
You notice this, and when the vegans try to be funny, when they try to be like snarky or sarcastic in comments, it's really funny. But did you feel that when you were vegan, like you couldn't even, like your sense of humor was gone?
Actually, my wife's in the comments. She'll probably tell you. I know she's watching this. That
nice.
I used to get really quite anxious and like I would be snappy at my wife for no reason at all, and that actually crushed me because I didn't know why I was going on like that. She would say something to me, and I would just automatically kind of get really angry, and everything was a problem. Like anything that happened during the day, it would be a struggle. It would be a problem. would kind of take it out at my wife, like constantly, oh, why you aggressive, you know what I mean? Just really, not aggressive, but like kind of forthcoming to her all the time. And that absolutely crushed me because I didn't even know why I was doing it. And I constantly said to her, oh, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm doing this. And the minute maybe about 4 weeks after I had nano animal products, that totally went away. But it's crazy.
It sounds like the classic hangriness symptom, right? I mean,
that's it.
You're so hungry, but don't even realize it. Hangry, they call it. Yeah, I mean, just the difference is staggering between your face then and now. I'm gonna come over here and hit some super chats. I know you guys might have some questions. Samantha Hyde, what's up, Samantha Hyde? Says, I'm not a vegan transphobe. Here's a tenner to prove it. There you go. We've got somebody actually proving her good global citizen status. You are a good global citizen. Remember, if you want to prove that you're not a bigot or a racist, the science says, the scientists, the experts say, the only way to prove you're not a bigot is by sending super chats and supporting the stream here. These streams require your support. If you guys want more of them, show some support. So thank you. Really appreciate that. Andrew Bennett sends Canadian 10, sends greetings from Canada. Keep her going, Tristan. You're the man. Glad to have you, Tommy boy. All hail Gregor. Hail Gregor. Hail Gregor. We got Dr. Gregor. Where is Dr. Gregor? Let's pull him up here. So when you were doing a vegan diet, remember, they always like to say, you did it wrong. You were never really vegan, right? So here we are, the guy that a lot of these people will talk about as being, you know, the king of veganism, the King Dong of veganism, Dr. Gregor here. Did you ever do his Dr. Gregor's Daily Dozen, or what did your diet actually look like? Like you say, Tofu Tommy, and I think tofu is a very unhealthy food. It seems like there's differing opinions on how you do veganism right in the vegan movement. But yeah, what did your diet look like? And did you just do it wrong?
Well, the Tofu Tommy name, the way that came about was because I done a podcast with a vegan activist, and we were talking about like vegan names, the way everybody has a vegan name, like Joey Carbstrong and people like Banana Warrior Princess, and they says, I think, you know something, Tofu Tommy, and I says, yeah, I'll go with that. So, but my vegan diet, basically, yeah, I was obviously having a lot of seeds, beans. I done a lot of what you would call whole food plant-based. I was obviously adding in plant milks. I was supplementing and things like that. But near the end, what I tried everything. Like I was starting to obviously do, like I went raw maybe for probably about a month.
There we go. You did it wrong. You can stop there. They got their clip. You did it wrong, man.
That was for like a month, right at the end. I tried that.
Yeah.
And then I started, obviously, the only way I could really sustain myself at the end bit was adding in things like mock meats, which my friend Wacko Vegano, as he used to be called, he did the very same thing, and he got a backlash as well. But a lot of these people that are talking about whole foods, plant-based, none of them actually do it. They're eating processed crap, vegan meats constantly.
Yeah.
But
then when you leave, they say, oh, they'll nitpick your diet. They say, look, you did raw for a whole month. Dude, you did it wrong. That's why. Like, end of story. We're going to discredit you with that. They're always looking for some straw to grasp at. And it's really pathetic.
It was, like I say, I tried absolutely everything to kind of try and hang on to things, and that was kind of my last hope. Went to Goji Man. I even had plans from Hench Herbivore as well. I got diet plans from him, and then I commented on one of his videos recently, and then he turned around to me and he says, your problems came because you didn't eat enough calories. He said, that's it. It wasn't veganism, it was your past. And I said,
oh, you said that. So you said this is your past. So he tried to claim you got an eating disorder still, and this is why.
Exactly.
Wow. So what a great guy. So we'll come back over here. We'll get another image of Hench Herbivore, human hernia. Where is he at? There we go. There's Hench Herbivore right there. So what a stand-up guy. What a stand-up guy. And this is the same guy who will wear the shirt that Tim Sheaf designed. The shirt that Tim Sheaf designed, and take a sponsorship from the company that Tim Sheaf started, while bashing Tim Sheaf and said, oh, you drank your own urine. You did urine therapy. So that is classic vegan online behavior.
It wasn't that long ago he was praising John Venus, and now he's absolutely slandering him video after video, which kind of says it all. But that's what happens. Like, they're all your friends when you're vegan. The minute it doesn't work for you and you've got to leave, they'll use you for clickbait.
Yeah, yeah. Eat up the last bits of clicks they can get out of your name and milk it out for a few months. So, speaking of that, when you were doing the Tofu Tommy content, did you ever do like videos like that? Did you ever say that you were never really vegan, or did you ever do some of the things that you see being done, you know?
I've actually got a video on my channel that was actually, it's privatized, but I'll
Nice. Send me
try and
that. We
send.
can pull it up and we can listen to some clips from it if you want, or we can just
This was one, if you remember, Freely put out a video, obviously, why we're still vegan.
Okay. Yes, yes. And that Freely kind of started that meme. You were never really vegan. That was the and all these, they still repeat it now. It's been like 2 years or something since that happened.
Yeah.
And Vegan Gains now says it all the time. You were never vegan, John. You were never vegan. All these vegan YouTubers, they still do the same thing. It's so weird. It's like, why would anybody who sees this behavior going on want to take part in this cult? Right? And this is something I couldn't imagine why John Venus at the time, right, would go on Vegan Gains thing, and Vegan Gains tries to shame him. And John just kind of sits back. John kind of owned him in a lot of ways in those clips. You could see he really exposed Vegan Gains for what he is. And John actually seemed really confident there. And just like, I thought that was one of the funniest videos ever. But why would anybody put themselves in a situation like this and maintain this facade for these people who are so obviously sick in the head, who are so obviously very, very psychologically manipulative and just disgustingly kind of masochistic towards people who just suddenly decide to leave their cult? It never ceases to amaze me that people would want to associate with this. Like, I don't get why more vegans don't just say, screw this, I'm out of this. I'm going to go back to being human and go back to my family and actually talk to my old friends who I disowned. It's crazy.
I mean, I've got really some great vegan friends that actually support me 100%. They say I'm doing the right thing and they actually appreciate that. And some of them reaching out to me and said that, like, I should have done it a long time ago. So I think there's some of them that's really, really good. I mean, there is some great vegans out there, but it's just the YouTube space and quite a lot of the activism space. It's just absolutely toxic, really. But some of them, obviously, like the kind of top guys that's earning a lot of money, they're going to hang on to the kind of ship goes down because they're earning thousands, and that's basically what it comes down to. And until their Patreon money dries up, they'll probably still be here.
Yeah, that does make sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to see out of it too, especially when you're getting love bombed all the time. Like, imagine you're Joey Carbstrong, you're this dude with all sorts of issues, who suddenly found this platform. Like, you've never had a real job, right? Like, Joey Carbstrong, these anonymous voice for the voiceless people, Paul LaSalle, and these dorks who they've never worked a real job. They're LARPing on the internet like they're saving the animals, and people are love bombing them for it. Why would you leave? You know, why would anybody? There you go. Look at that. There we go. Tommy's why I'm still vegan, channeling freely the banana girl on this one.
I think Joey actually, as far as I know, he used to work as a builder, and I think just before his activism, he was doing like a kind of traffic warden thing.
Oh, he had a job. He had a real job.
Yeah, and then obviously he went for the traffic warden thing and into full-time activism when Laura, his girlfriend, obviously helped set up his Patreon and things. And
okay. So one of them actually has worked a job. I think Earthling Ed just went straight into professional activism.
Yeah, I think he was doing like acting and things like that, as far as I know.
Yeah, he was an actor and doing student films, and then just immediately was a sponsored full-time activist, which is, it just amazes me. So let's check out some of these clips. This will be a little piece of history. Wow. Some cringe for Tommy.
Cringe, Wally.
Cringe it up, dude. But how cool is it that you can actually laugh at this now?
You need to send the super chats for me basically taking the pee out myself here.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. You guys better get them super chats going. Let me come over here and read some of these super chats before we jump into this too. We've got Mag. Mag sends 5 Canadian, says, bless you, Tommy. What's the first animal product you've eaten after being off of a vegan diet? What was the first thing you ate?
It was eggs, then obviously fish, and then recently I've been adding in obviously chicken for about the last maybe 3-4 months.
Samantha Hyde sends Canadian 10s, says, a Scotsman without a sense of humor is a sad thing. Glad to have you back. right?
Thanks a lot.
Right? There's nothing that's more depressing than a Scottish accent whining about life. There's something about that Scottish accent that's like no matter what emotion it's portraying, it's intensified, right? So like a sobbing, like a sobbing soyish Scotsman voice must be the most pathetic thing to hear, and I'm glad we don't hear that from Tommy ever. He's always super stoked.
I'm a soy boy. I love soy.
I love soy. I'm a soy boy. All right, we got another super chat here from Psycho Magnet. Says new name Tallow Tommy. There we go. All right, so let's. You know what? I'm gonna unplug this for a second. Actually, no. Here, I'll pipe the audio. Change an audio setting so you'll be able to hear the video.
The thumbnail.
All right.
To bring everything but the hog. I think we eat nothing but grass. What you talking about? I'm about to jump into the whip and hit the Whole Foods early. Get everything to get that soul food working, like mac and cheese, the collard greens, the black eyed peas, and get a roast at tofu turkey. Got cornbread, even got stuff.
Cornbread, even got stuff.
Green beans, and you know we got yams with it.
Welcome back, all you beautiful souls, spreading compassion in the tofu cube of truth all around the world. Today we're going to be doing something a little different. As you'll all know, there's been a big boom on YouTube, obviously talking about why I'm not vegan anymore. So myself and quite a lot of other vegan YouTubers have actually set out to counteract this by putting out why we are still vegan. So first off, I'm vegan simply because I give a bloody shit. That's why I'm vegan. Land desertification, ocean dead zones, Amazon destruction, fishless oceans by 2014, ocean dead zones, subjugation, enslavement and slaughter of sentient beings at the...
Whoa there. Let me come back over here so Tommy can hear me. I need some audio help over here. I might need to get some sort of All right, dude. You hear me now, right? Sentient being, dude, the oceans. No oceans left by 2022.
The best part about that video was the brain fog there.
Every single talking point stuffed in there, right? The environmental aspect, the animals, friends, not food. That was intense, man. But you know what? You still seem kind of happy there. You still seem like you're good.
Well, that's debatable.
2048. No oceans left, man. The oceans will be completely drained by 2051. Yeah, but I mean, dude, the look physically, the mental clarity, obviously some big differences there, dude.
I think it's roughly 15 kilos I've gained since I left.
15 kilos, 30 pounds, eating less calories.
Currently 67 kilos I am, and I was 52 when I left.
Wow, man. 52 kilos, did that feel like crap?
Absolutely. I was going to the gym constantly lifting weights and never really getting anywhere. It was absolutely shocking.
Yeah. Here, let's get some more of this cringe. We got to see Tommy squirming some more because it's too entertaining to me. Here we go. I'll just unplug the mic and it'll feed through the mic for you.
Slaughter of sentient beings at the rate of 76 billion per year. We're feeding enough food to feed around 10 billion people on the planet. We only have 7.5 billion, yet there's 800 million starving people all over the world. No reason to any animal to have to suffer for us to thrive.
There's all those people starving in the world. Did you consider yourself one of them at this point?
No, I definitely didn't. Probably should have though. I can get plant-based milks, I can get vegan ice creams, I can get burgers, I can get cheese, I can get chocolates, I can even get vegan pizza. So what I would say is not why I am still vegan, is why you're bloody not. If you're vegan for the animals, you will stay vegan. So all these vegan...
Whoa, dude.
Whoa, I'm tripping myself up there, aren't I?
So yeah, we're gonna have to get some more inquisitions going on here. If there's any vegans who want to question him on that, so that was almost there's no such thing as an ex-vegan, but maybe do you say that at any point in this?
I think I did, yeah.
Nice. All right, well let's keep going. Let's get to that part.
YouTubers putting out why they aren't vegan anymore. Let's just face it, at the end of the day, they were never vegan in the first place, in my opinion. Veganism is a selfless act, it's a social justice movement, it's a philosophy, it's about doing what is good for the animals, no matter what. I would fight to the last to stay vegan, which I've done. For all through my eating disorder recovery, I fought to be vegan, I fought to stay vegan. There's obviously all those people out there that say, oh, you're only vegan because you want to restrict to stay in your eating disorder. To yous guys, take that. So guys, that's why I'm vegan. If you've got any reason at all why you think we shouldn't be vegan, or you're another vegan YouTuber who wants to get involved, please let me know in the comments below. We're all about the animals, that's what it's always about. It's not about you, it's not about me, it's about the animals, and it always will be. I'm vegan because I wouldn't want your baby taken away from you if you're a mother. Could you imagine what a cow goes through every single year when she's forcibly impregnated? If her calf is a male, the bobby calf, he's taken away, he's led across Europe to obviously live exports.
He's taken away. So you're never really vegan. It's not about you. It's about the animals. So it's like, when you're filming this, was this kind of like therapy, like a denial therapy? I feel like half the videos vegans make, they're just talking to themselves and trying to hype themselves into just, not eating the egg that they've been craving for the last 5 years.
No, like I say, I totally believed it because I really do care about animals, and like I say, what happens to them in some places is shocking. Like I say, nobody wants to support factory farms, and that's the problem that a lot of vegans have. They conflate every single farm to being a factory farm.
Yeah.
And I support a local farm that's actually local regenerative agriculture, and they obviously keep the calf with their mother past weaning. They're out in grass pastures all year, apart from the 4 months of the year when it's really cold winter, and they've actually got to go in barns. So they always talk about these factory farms in Scotland, and there's hardly any. They're all out in pastures apart from the 4 months of the year that they've got to be in for their own safety.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing? These places where there basically are no factory farms, these people are freaking out about the so-called factory farms. And it's kind of a straw man, right? They create this, what's crazy is too, the same corporations, the same banking interest that funded that factory farming system and the consolidated slaughterhouse system in the United States that's run by Cargill, JBS, Smithfield, and National Beef. These are transnational corporations. Cargill is the biggest grain trader in the world. They run over, I think it's over 40%. It might even be as high as 50%. I'm gonna have to relook up this stat because I always forget it. But they run a majority of the global grain trade, and they're heavily invested in the plant-based meat stuff. So Cargill is selling and producing that pea protein isolate that's being sold. They are involved in the production of things like the Beyond Burger. They are one of the biggest producers or the biggest traders in the GMO grains that are destroying the soil, that are wrecking the topsoil, that are destroying our health, that are destroying our children's health and their minds and their guts. These same corporations and these same banking interests are also funding the vegan fake meat. So people are so cool with Tyson Foods as long as, Tyson is the biggest or one of the bigger investors in the Beyond Burger. They're totally cool with that. I mean, that's like, to me, it is so hypocritical. You've got, worse than Colonel Sanders, the guy who runs KFC, who's not really a real guy, vegans. Colonel Sanders is not a real person. Sorry, vegans. But you've got, the literally Hitler of the animal holocaust funding the Beyond Burger, and they're cool with that. In fact, it's great. It's enlightenment.
Yeah, and now obviously you've got the vegans that obviously, like Joey was one of them, actually supporting KFC and McDonald's and things like that, which is probably their biggest enemy.
Yeah, going and doing vigils at KFC while ordering a McVegan burger. What are you doing? They're such hypocrites, man. These people, they say one thing and do the exact opposite. And it's It's insane. It's absolutely insane. We got Sylphwave sends a 2-pound super chat. Says, you planning on trying organ meats and haggis, Tommy? Any organ meats yet? Not yet.
I think that's probably a step too far. I don't think I could do anything like that. I'm quite happy, like I say, I'm doing obviously fish and chicken and eggs, and that's kind of where I want to stay at the moment, because I
You had
feel
beef too. You started eating beef recently, finally.
I ate it once, and then I felt really, really bad, and I think that was because I had low stomach acid and that. But
yeah,
the problem is it brings a lot of bad memories back to me, and I feel that I don't really want to go there, because I feel that I want to have a balance where I'm doing the best I can.
You do raw milk, right?
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
There you go. Cheese, real cheese.
Cheese.
What's up with real cheese, dude? After how many years was it with no cheese?
Oh yeah, but they obviously claim that cheese is addictive. It's like heroin.
Yeah, it's like heroin. It's just like having a healthy relationship is addictive, right? Having a pet companion, having a dog is addictive. It's like, yeah, the cheese is addictive because it's freaking delicious and it's good for you.
That's the thing I want to say as well. See the difference with my dogs. When I was vegan, they would never come near my plate. See now, when they see my plate with anything like fish or anything on it, they're sitting there, they're desperate for it, and they're just slavering, drooling.
And before, they didn't care about you when you were eating?
That actually, my dog was like kind of like therapy for me. He actually used to sit there and used to like kind of like entice me to eat it. It was as if he was sitting there and making sure I did. Quite strange, actually.
Yeah, you got to get your wife to make you some steaks, and just you sit at the table in front of the steak. The dog sits there, and we get him to work his voodoo on you and get you to take some of those steaks. I mean, you're doing so great even without it, man. But I think you and I have had conversations behind the scenes of. I think you've had maybe some of your team that you work with as far as recovery goes and for your health. They've also recommended getting some meat in there, beef rather. And your wife's eating beef though, right?
She is, yeah. She eats things like pulled pork and that as well. She eats a lot of different things. She eats like mince and things. She's she's had quite a few health problems recently as well, so she's kind of had to alter her diet a little. But yeah, that's basically what her diet's made up of. Eggs as well. She's basically all animal products. She really eats.
Did you turn her vegan? I forgot to.
No, she was like vegetarian all her life, and obviously when we met, I was obviously a meat eater, and she was vegetarian at that point.
But what about the vegan switch? Because we didn't talk about that. What happened when you went vegan? Did she go vegan right away?
She never went vegan at all, because
you were never vegan. You loved a non-vegan?
Yeah, well, at that point she was obviously had to switch because of her cancer, so that was a good few years before that. So she was never vegan. But a lot of people obviously said to me, look, why can you stay with her? Why can you stay with somebody that doesn't have the same morals and the same...
These people tried to get you to leave your wife?
Yeah.
Dude, that's too much. She's just weighing you down, Tommy. She's just like, they smell it. They know when you're around somebody who's gonna pull you away. It's like that jealous lover, right? Like the insecure guy who's trying to trick some woman to let him stick his 11th finger in her third eye. Like the sneaky little guy, and the woman's hanging out with somebody and enjoying herself, and it's like, you should stay away from that person. He's disgusting. This Gollum shit, man. That's ridiculous.
God's honest truth, she deserves a medal for putting up with me, and that's been the God's honest truth for all the 4 years, because I missed like 4 years of my life with her. I was constantly out the door doing videos and everything, obviously coming back and helping me with her care and that, but they forget the times that I missed. I gave up everything. I wouldn't obviously go out to like outings with my wife or anything, because I was doing videos and Anonymous for the Voiceless and animal activism constantly, and yet they've got the guts to say that I was never really vegan.
Wow, dude. So do you think some of this, because you mentioned kind of the traumatic history, right? Like the eating disorder starting after trauma. Do you think the vegan movement was a way to distract yourself from real relationship with your loved ones and with people like your wife?
I really don't know. No, I wouldn't really say so. You know what I mean? I just wanted to do something great, and I thought, well, I love animals, and I really like helping people, and that's what I've always been about. And I just thought I want to do something to really make an impact and do something good in the world. So that's kind of where it took me. And when I met that woman in the hospital, that basically kind of reinforced it. And I just it just led from there.
Was she in the hospital for an eating disorder as well?
She was in the hospital because she had bipolar.
Well, okay, isn't that funny? Like looking back now, it's like, okay, so the chick that got me into veganism from the hospital was in there because she was ridiculously depressed, bipolar. Was she self-harming? Is that like self-harm bipolar? Or?
I don't think so, no. But she used to take manic outbursts where she would attack people and things like that. She done it with the nurses quite a lot.
Yeah.
And obviously she got better at the end, but when I was in there at the start, she was really, really bad at that point.
And you knew, like, you didn't really connect it at the time, right? Because you didn't know other vegans and you didn't realize this was a pattern. Yeah.
And being honest, I'd never really heard anything about like being vegan. Like my cousin, she was vegetarian all her life, and that was like the only thing that I'd ever really heard of was like kind of vegetarian. But when obviously, like, I'm one of these people that I would say I'm really, really empathic, and that's kind of where it led me. Like I say, because of that, I get kind of suckered in, I think.
Yeah, for sure, man. We got vegan phobic chat. He sends a $4.99 super chat. Vegan phobic chat. Thanks, man. Tommy, here's some money for embracing the cringe. Much love. So there you go. Sending them super chats. You know, when Tommy comes and visits someday over here in South America, we'll use that $4.99 to get him some fish if he won't eat steak, but hopefully a steak. Give him some.
I thought you were going to offer me one of the Beyond steaks.
You want to be? I make a really good Beyond steak, man. It's made out of pure fish. All right, we got another super chat here from Eric Partello. Thanks, Eric. Didn't even say anything. No Laws of Man sends £2. Says try raw oysters with lemon, Tommy. Best wishes. That sounds good.
Thanks a lot.
Oysters,
I appreciate
man.
that.
You had oysters yet?
I've never had oysters. To be honest, they've kind of freaked me out. I'm never really kind of a big one for like seafood and things like that. Oysters, mussels, never really tried them.
So good, man. So good.
I think John Venus actually done that. I think that was oysters and mussels that he had, I think.
Yeah, I think oysters and eggs were the first ones, and then fish, and then game meat, which is really lean. He sent me some of the pictures of the game meat that he eats. It looks so freaking lean. And I'm used to lean meat because everything's really grass-fed, grass-finished here. And the grass quality locally, it's not that good. We have a dry season, right? So the animals never get huge and fat like you're going to get on different types of pasture or if you grain finish them. And man, his meat looks so much leaner than the stuff we even get here. But yeah.
My next door neighbour, actually, he's a hunter as well. And actually, when I remember it, when I first moved into this house, he came to meet me and he introduced himself and then he said, immediately I come out with it, I'm vegan right away. And he says, we hate vegans, our family's hunters. And I remember actually the people in the Save movement actually found out that he was a hunter and they were actually asking me to actually find out information about him and where he hunted to obviously report him and things like that. Disgusting.
Dude, wait. So they would try to get information on random people, dox them within their little circles, not publicly doxing them, but they try to get info and mess with people?
And I was like, absolutely no way, I says, because this guy's absolutely great. I got on great with him. I says, I don't maybe agree with his hunting and things like that. But I says, but he's an absolutely great guy. I says, I'm not getting involved with it. But yeah, that was what happened.
That's crazy. I mean, they should have called the police on him for murder if he was murdering.
I think as well, he actually got caught and he actually got like a £2,000 fine.
You told me about that. That's the guy, because it was an illegal hunting thing? What happened?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, so I'm not saying that was connected to them, but it's a bit of a coincidence, you know what I mean? Because...
yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's messed up. That's really messed up. What's the hunting law? What are the hunting laws like there? You're not allowed to go kill a rabbit in your backyard or anything?
No, I think as well that there's a lot of hunting laws because of the badger. There's been a lot of badger culling and things like that because they said that they were bringing on bovine TB and things like that. So a lot of hunting laws are kind of restricted at the moment as well.
Oh, man. Psycho Magnet sends a £3 super chat, says, Tristan, sounds like you really loved John's meat. You are banned. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks, Psycho Magnet. Appreciate that. I quite enjoyed the pictures of John's meat. I won't be posting those pictures anytime soon. Man, so yeah, it's been a long journey, man. I'm really happy with just seeing the changes that you've made. I mean, just over the last few months, I've seen a huge improvement. You've been gaining significant weight and strength.
Yeah, I've been feeling absolutely great. Yeah, I can honestly say this is the best I've felt in probably years. It just seems to be getting better constantly, which is kind of a surprise because I must admit I thought it was probably going to decline and it was probably placebo, but it definitely wasn't. And I can honestly say that the decision probably saved my life, and at the time I didn't really appreciate that, and it definitely did.
Was there anybody's story when you were going through the like mental struggle of detaching yourself from the ideology? Was there any other person who you saw, you know, maybe say they weren't vegan anymore, or anybody in your personal life other than your wife? I mean, that was a really visceral one, but is there any other anecdote that you remember that really struck you and made you reconsider or push you more towards eating animal foods again and getting out of the cult?
Yeah, well, firstly would obviously be my mate Jacko. Like I say, I've met him in real life. Jacko's an absolutely great guy.
Yeah.
He's been great to me constantly, even when I was still vegan, like I say, and I think he's a brilliant guy. He reached out to me, helped me quite a lot, and obviously Stefan as well, who was in the chat. Even Tim Sheaf, like I say, even though a lot of people slander him and things like that, but yeah, he definitely had a big impact as well. He actually reached out to me early on when I was, even before I put out the video, actually saying that I wasn't vegan anymore. He actually reached out to me as well and telling me what I should do. And he says, but I'm not telling you what you should definitely do. He says, but I'm giving you advice. So thanks to Tim for that as well. And obviously, like I say, big support for Drew Morgan and that as well. Drew helped me massively. Nice. He was constantly reaching out to me, giving me advice and telling me what I need to do. He says, you need to look after yourself. He says, you've got a wife that loves you. He said, that's the most important thing. And he was right.
He was gaslighting you. That's gaslighting.
That's what they'll say.
He's emotionally, he's a master of manipulation.
No, it's like, Drew was absolutely great, and that's the God's honest truth. Like I say, and he was never gaslighting me, and he was never forcing anything. He actually, as I say, gave a shit.
Yeah, it's just crazy seeing the responses that come out. I mean, what are some of the ones that were the most bothersome to you? We mentioned them before, but to kind of wrap up, after you did come out as never really vegan, when you came out and said you weren't vegan anymore, what were some of the responses that really were the most surprising or just bothersome, pathetic?
Well, obviously Logan Blake, he put out a video kind of slandering me, and he actually put out one before that saying that there was a conspiracy between me and Drew Morg. He said that Drew Morg was basically sponsoring me to go carnivore and things like that. And then Rebecca Brooks, she constantly made slander videos after slander videos about my eating disorder in the past, and she talked about Brianna Jackfruitson as well, who had an eating disorder. She was basically conflating the two. Mm-hmm. She just constantly puts out nonsense, like I say, just infatuated for no reason, like I say. Just kind of really annoys me that, like, they bring up, they'll take anything from your past to kind of validate their ideology, really. Yeah. But they won't do the same thing for people like Joey Cabstrong as a past and other people as a past. It's
not until you leave veganism do these things become an issue. It's just when you leave, then it's like any reason to justify that they can find.
That's it.
It's pathetic. It's really freaking pathetic. I'm very, very. None of this shocks me, but it's just surprising seeing like how low some of these people can go. Just what little regard they have for human life.
Yeah, like I say, the Facebook friends I've got, they're probably about the best. The ones that's vegan, like I say, there's even been quite a change in some of the ones that are actual activists as well that are still vegan. They're actually now saying to me, I now think that not everybody can be vegan, and they said that you've done the right thing and you're looking after your health. Veganism doesn't work for you, and I think that there's some people that just can't be vegan, and that's been a big change. So whether there's people that's actually kind of suffering in the background, which I think they are, because they're now they're kind of turning those wheels a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's very few people who go vegan who are not suffering through it. You know what I'm saying? It's
absolutely,
like,
yeah.
From day one. And they're dreaming about eating animals. They're dreaming about eggs, cheese, Come on.
That's actually what my friend Derek Taylor, who I actually used to do vegan activism with as well. I think he reached out to you at one point, obviously telling you about that he wasn't vegan anymore. He actually said,
How's he doing now? Yeah, I haven't heard from him since.
He's doing absolutely great. Yeah, he's back working and things like that. He's doing a lot of strength training and things. He's basically kind of
Away from the vegan thing? Not in it?
Yeah.
Good.
But yeah, he's doing absolutely great and seems to be. But even he said that when he was vegan, he looked around about himself at vigils and cubes, and everybody looked sick and things like that. And he says, but I started to question it, but then I thought to myself, well, maybe they're not doing it right. And I kind of hid my issues behind the scene. And then he says, once things get worse and worse and worse, I needed to kind of face up to it and admit it.
Yeah, well, if he's watching, I'd love to hear from him sometime soon, because
I really do. Drew's, he's doing great.
That's really cool to hear. That's really cool to hear. It's a funny scene, you know, just these vigils, right? You've got all these people who are starving themselves, who are suffering through this dehumanizing worldview that's putting, you know, the animals above them, and they're sacrificing their own health. They don't believe they're sacrificing their own health, but eventually they come to realize it. Vegan Gains knows it, and he admits it openly, right? He says he'll die for the animals, which I think is BS. Once he gets to a certain point, he won't keep dying for the animals. But it's a crazy, it's just an amazing and disturbing scene, like grown men conjuring up tears in front of a truck full of pigs. Well, they're causing these pigs to suffer more by stopping it, right? Destroying their own health, destroying their own bodies, and be surrounded by other people who are just over emotional, crying and starving themselves. These vigils are, I don't know, to me, it's like a demonic frenzy. It just seems disgusting.
It seems to be more about the activists than actually the animals. It's there to get filmed and things like that. That's really what it comes down to, I think. There's probably only a few that actually really are there to care about the animals, really.
Yeah.
I think as well, it's kind of like they talked about in Timothy in the Bible, where you obviously get your conscience seared by a hot iron.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's really, it's sad to see, and it's definitely a result of kind of a dehumanizing worldview overall that tells people that, oh, you're just the same as animals, right? You're just the same as this pig. There's nothing different. They're sentient. They can't even define sentience. They can't measure sentience. It's
no, you can never. They can never actually describe their worldview. Everything's subjective. There's no truth. You know what I mean? But what they do quite a lot as well, which I found really disturbing, was they would be total atheists, yet they would use Christian passages from the Bible when they were talking to people to kind of reinforce their worldview and things, which I just found was really, really strange.
Really disturbing, right? And you've shown me, and I haven't shared this with the audience yet, but some of the educational materials that, what was that organization called?
The Education Center.
Vegan Education Center is what it's called? The Vegan Education Center, they have entire lists of resources that they give these activists like James Aspey, Joey Carbstrong, and Gelfling Ed. And what they do in these is they tell people exactly how to manipulate people psychologically and emotionally, and they give them all these manipulative, false interpretations of Scripture, right? These blasphemous interpretations of Scripture, and they even add like extra scriptural texts and talk about heretical cults like the Essenes and the the Marianites, the group. So all these groups that were actually called out by the church fathers, like St. John of Damascus, over 1,500 years ago. It was 1,100 years ago when he wrote about these sects, and they reference these heretical sects and say, look, there were some groups that forbade the usage of animal foods. Look, Pythagoras was a ethical vegetarian. He wouldn't eat animals. It's very twisted. These people who are atheists and who try to argue from a religious standpoint, it's all about manipulation for these people. It's not about the truth.
I remember even one of the things they said, they were arguing about Jesus eating fish, and they said that because of the Greek translation, it would actually have been fishweed that he ate, which I thought was absolutely crazy.
He was eating fishweed. What a joke, man. Fishweed. All right, Psycho Magnus sends 3 pounds. Says Tristan sounds like. Oh wait, already read that one. Not reading that again. Hench Herbivore sends 2 pounds. Says let's debate Sunshine. If this, that's probably not real Hench Herbivore, but if it is real Hench Herbivore, for sure we can debate. You just email me. anytime, I would love to set that up. Hench, the human hernia. Excuse me. But all right. So eat like your great grandpa says. I've got a new selfie stick for the next vigil. Exactly. Veganism embodied, right? Selfie stick for the next vigil. Well, Tommy, let's wrap it up, man. We've got plenty more to talk about. You can come on anytime. It'd be fun to do some more of these, and maybe we can get into some of the manipulation techniques that they train people at the Vegan Society? No, the Vegan. What was it called again?
Education Center.
Vegan Education Center, the VEC, the Vegan Education Center, some of these materials that they disseminate to people like Joey, which is why you see Joey when he's making his videos, always looking off screen to his little teleprompter on his computer with his talking points, as something that Tommy has pointed out to me. These talking points, the reason they're always the same is they all come from one source. They're all coming from the same source, and the same source is educating all these dummies to go out there and exploit you with these emotional manipulation techniques and teach you how to use them on other people so that you can starve yourself until you finally give up and join Team Humanity again, like our buddy Tommy here. So where can people find you, Tommy Kelly?
Yeah, you can find me obviously on YouTube. That's my main platform, and obviously Instagram as well. I'm quite active on there as well.
Well, let me pull up this image here. Here is Tommy's channel. You can find Tommy over here. It is no longer Tofu Tommy, Tommy Kelly on YouTube. And Tommy, it's always a pleasure talking to you, man. I feel really blessed to know you. I'm stoked for you and your family. I'm stoked for you and your wife, and always wishing you guys the best. And we, I enjoy talking to you whenever I talk to you. Your accent and your voice never gets old.
Thanks very much, Tristan, and thanks for everything you've done. Like I say, I really appreciate it, and blessings to you and your family.
Right on, man. All right. God bless, Tommy. It's been nice hanging out. And you guys, thanks for supporting the stream. Really appreciate it. The guys and gals out there in the chat who do support. It's your support that keeps these streams going. We always appreciate that support. So thank you guys for sending the super chats, for throwing those thumbs up, for liking and subscribing and hitting the bell icon, doing all that stuff that you're supposed to tell people to do on YouTube. And I'll see you guys next time. We're out of here.